This video blog post is a conversation I'm having with myself and you about the animal tourism industry. I volunteered with Wildlife Friends of Thailand at their elephant sanctuary and learned a lot about what goes into training an animal for entertainment. I learned a lot, and I hope you learn from this video about how important it is to keep animals wild. Please check out my website, www.missraraventures.com, for a reflection and lesson plan that coincides with this video.
I don't know how to start this, but today I'm telling you the story. Just spent a whole day having a really amazing educational lesson on a sea kayak tour in Hong Kong, which is phenomenal. And I'm out with my friend, and we're hanging out with his friends, and one of them asks where I'm traveling to and what I plan on doing. He was like, yeah, that's really bad the way they treat the animals. I know. We went, and man, he was hitting them and beating them with like a stick or so, abused throughout the entire time. And he was like, yeah, and I feel bad. You know, didn't really, the elephant looked really tired. I'm like, of course it's tired. Oh my God. Speechless.
It's so important not to fund any type of industry involving elephants. All elephants in captivity go through the crushing process known as the Pajan process. The Pajan process, it translates to the crushing or the breaking the spirit of an elephant. It's pretty horrific. It's horrific. They usually, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the process. So it usually involves putting a baby elephant and kind of through like a cage, and usually about the same size as the baby elephant. So her front two legs will be tied together, her back two legs will be tied together. Sometimes there'll be rope all around her body, just completely restricting her movement, and sometimes again her trunk can even be tied up. The Pajan process, depending on the spirit of the elephant, it can last to a few days, even up to a week, and sometimes even longer. It just depends how much kind of fight the elephant has in her. So during this time, she's deprived of food, she's given very small amounts of water, sometimes not even any water, and 24 hours a day she's basically being poked and prodded and screamed at, and there'll be about 20 people just surrounding her, hitting her again and again. Again, it's about making elephants submissive towards people so that they listen to us. It's just horrific. So after about, when they see that baby elephant's kind of given up hope, so she stops fighting. Bear in mind, for 7 days or sometimes more, she's not even allowed to sleep or anything like that. She's just constantly 24 hours a day being punished. So after that, they let the baby elephant out, and they introduce the elephant to a mahout, which is an elephant handler. And the mahout is the first person to give the elephant kind of food and water, and that is kind of how they start to build up that trust relationship. But of course, the Pajan process, that's not where it ends. That's really only the beginning of the beatings when it comes to elephants in captivity.
If you don't like the way it's treated, don't do it. This was in real life, and it was one of my friend's friends. So how do you say something, but no words are coming out of your mouth?
See how bad her back is, all sunken in? That's from being ridden on so much. Her back is permanently damaged like that. Normally, Asian elephants' backs are round.
It's like you want to be in this magical land with these magical creatures. But I was never really taught to put two and two together and think that, well, you can actually see these magical creatures and appreciate them without abusing them or riding them. I didn't realize that there was so much abuse that came along with riding an elephant.
See that behavior? You think it's cute that they're nodding yes and stuff? That mother, she's traumatized from being beaten and having babies taken from her. So that's her coping skill.
I remember my friend texting me a picture of him next to a tiger. And I was like, oh, I like everything except for that thing with the tiger. Do you know that they drug them profusely so you can just stand next to them and rub them?
And the log is kind of the name, but they used to use the elephants basically as human trucks. So people go up to high mountains into their natural habitat, cut down huge trees, and they'll tie huge ropes to the trees and then to the elephants, and the elephants are then forced to move them out of the way. pretty horrific, because there'll always be someone on her back, on her neck, usually sitting down, making sure she's walking, she moves faster to kind of get everything going. And a lot of times they'll always use a bull hook as well, so they always have a bull hook in their hand to make sure they're well behaved. So if they don't move, they get hit with a bull hook. A bull hook is a piece of bamboo with a very sharp metal edge, so every time she doesn't do something good, she gets hit with the bull hook. So a lot of elephants as well, they have pink scarring on the top of their forehead. Their skin is very sensitive, so every time it has an open wound, it does re-heal as pink scar tissue. The way they get them to do these tricks as well is they get them through abuse, so they have to constantly hit them as well. To kind of get them to do, when they do something bad, they get punished. When they do something good, they do get rewarded. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of people say, oh, they're big elephants, they can have a few people on their back, we don't really see the harm. But actually, because of the structure of their spine, they actually shouldn't have a lot of weight on their back. So imagine if Thailand's working in a trekking camp, she'd probably have a huge saddle on her back that's about 20 kilograms, plus 2-4 people on her back at one time as well, constantly giving circles, rounds. And usually in elephants, well, in Thailand as well, there's no law about how long an elephant can work. In places like Burma, there is regulations where they can only work for about 6 to 8 hours every single day. But here in town, there's no such laws, so they usually work until they physically can't do it anymore. A lot of people just don't know about it. They just they see kind of this, like they just see them there at that time, and they just don't really see kind of the backstory. Exactly, yeah. So they don't really see about. It is literally a lifetime of abuse. It's real. So one person can take one photo or have that 20-minute ride on an elephant's back.
Yeah.
Because as soon as people go home, what happens to the elephant? They're kept in that same place, kept chained up.
And it's also impossible for them to be released back into the wild because they're so connected to their own herd, and they've been taken from their herd so long ago.
And traumatized.
And traumatized, yeah.
And in the wild, they teach them kind of how to. Elephants will dig in the wild for their own salts to be able to get minerals and things like that for their body. How to teach to look for water.
So I just want to say that whenever you're thinking about going to a circus or going to a zoo or going to ride an elephant, or it's not worth the picture, it's not worth the, the hour of pleasure that we get from it, because, in the end, the animal doesn't get that pleasure.
That had to happen in order for me to learn what to say next time, because I don't want to freeze up like that.
We see all these beautiful animals, we idolize them. We have elephants and lions and dolphins and sharks and stuff on our shirts, on our pants, on the walls of our rooms, on the walls of our children's rooms. But we don't realize that all of these animals are dying because of us, because we want this shark fin soup, or because we think it would be awesome to ride an elephant, and we think it would be super cool to touch a lion and feel its soft skin, or, go on a trophy hunt, or whatever. If you idolize these animals, you should be saving them and be part of the solution, saving them. I mean, these animals have been around for millennia, since before we humans became actual humans. So just be part of the solution of keeping them around and not being part of the problem of, the fact that all of these animals are dying because of us.